Please pardon my hoarse voice, I'm apparently battling the plague. It means you won't have to hear me sing it all in this review, but I still have one big question. How on earth are they going to stretch the first act of this play into a 2-hour and 40-minute movie, when that's essentially the length of the entire stage play? Well, during my screening, I got my answer, and I'll share it with you in this spoiler-free review of Wicked. Following the events of The Wizard of Oz, Glinda the Good Witch tells the story of the origin of Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West, who at one point was not only her college roommate, but some would even consider them friends. As we hear about Elphaba's past, her relationship to Glinda, and the events that led to her downfall, we learn that her story is more complicated than expected, and that perhaps there's something deeper that made her who she was, and why she was considered wicked. I love The Wizard of Oz, and I love the stage play of Wicked, but I will admit I had my doubts going into this Part 1 film version of the acclaimed musical. However, I must also admit I literally got goosebumps immediately when an old-fashioned black and white Universal logo came on the screen to the melody of the familiar overture. I was captured, the movie magic swept me away, and even though there has been much discourse about the lack of color in the film, the first scene will put to rest any doubts that Wicked will be some drab DC comic adaptation. Shortly thereafter, Ariana Grande, another concern I had, quickly won me over with her well-known singing pipes, but also by her ability and willingness to deliver a self-deprecating performance as the beloved yet narcissistic heroine of Oz. Her willingness to consistently come across like a fool quickly endeared me to her performance, despite her revealing her dark, manipulative side as well, creating the well-rounded character that has become so popular. Then enter Cynthia Erivo as the unmistakable, often misunderstood Green Witch. Her screen presence is instantaneous. Her expressive eyes and strong yet insecure posture are the driving force of the film, not to mention her gentle singing voice that can become room-shaking at the flick of a wand. Now that the two leads had won me over, I was able to lean back, stop taking notes, and appreciate the funny, sweet, sometimes scary adventure that, at its core, is an allegory for politics, power, and propaganda. The catchy tunes are just a bonus to the fascinating upside-down perspective of one of cinema's great villains. The aspects that immerse us into this magical world are Oscar-caliber hair, makeup, and costumes, along with enormous practical sets rather than the all-too-common green screen we see in today's films. In fact, the direction of this film often uses close-ups of characters' faces with narrow depth of field. That's when the camera limits how much of the frame is in focus, to direct the eyes of the viewer, to emphasize the character's emotions, which achieves its desired effect. But I wouldn't have minded if they had allowed for even more mid or wide shots to showcase their environment and display the beautiful set design. I think that could have accentuated the familiar world of Oz without sacrificing emotion, something Steven Spielberg did so well in his remake of West Side Story. A negative, I do think the CG characters, primarily the anthropomorphic animals, do not look good, specifically the flying monkeys. This seems to be an epidemic in Hollywood. Films rarely manage to get these characters right. In fact, the last 3 movies I've watched, Wicked, Red 1, and Gladiator 2, all suffered from really unrealistic animated characters, even though earlier this year, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes did it masterfully. In fact, even back in the 90s, Dino from the Flintstones felt more believable with the combination of puppets, animatronics, and computer rendering, an art that seems to have been lost in today's movies. Even with that complaint, Wicked never loses its magic. The long run time flies by and never feels bloated. There's no added content, just extended moments that allow characters to be better developed and expand the fictitious world. A world that seamlessly balances between the cinematic imagery that pays homage to the original The Wizard of Oz and maintaining the current day feeling of the live experience of the stage play. No better example than the moment Elphaba enters the Ozdust ballroom in her signature black hat, so maliciously gifted by Glinda. All of these elements come together, not to mention the complicated performances from veterans Michelle Yeoh and Jeff Goldblum, to create a movie-going experience that simultaneously feels vintage and contemporary. For my overall rating, this movie will be a delight for all ages of your family. Fans of the play will be relieved by the quality of this adaptation, and newcomers are in for a treat as they are introduced to a different perspective of the Oz we all thought we knew. So I will give Wicked a solid 4 out of 5 stars, almost 4.5, but not quite. Now, take note, sensitive viewers, this is a PG movie, so it's for the whole family, but the story kicks off with marital infidelity, and though little is shown visually in that scene, there are a couple dance numbers that I would consider a little suggestive for a PG movie, specifically when the handsome prince arrives and everyone ogles him, both girls and boys. And one song where Ariana Grande performs in a nightgown that, at times, looks a little like lingerie. I'm being very nitpicky here, but as a PG movie that will certainly appeal to the whole family, I wanted to make sure sensitive viewers could be well prepared. I really want to recommend this movie, and not just for audience to watch it. I really think this should be experienced in the theater with great sound and a large audience. But don't forget, this is a part 1, so even though the pace is great and you'll leave the theater humming the tunes, there's more of the story yet to come. What do you think of Wicked? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss any of my future content. Plus, you can watch some of my other videos by clicking on one of these boxes.